Hey, it's Coach Ryan, and I'm going to tell you the absolute worst things you could ever do in a peak week for a bikini competition. It is very, very common for a lot of bro science and a lot of really bad, unhealthy practices to be told to you during this peak week time frame. You hear all these horror stories and all these terrible things, and really it just comes down to poor coaching, poor knowledge, and athletes that simply do not know any better and just listen to these coaches that are giving out this crazy stuff. We're talking about water manipulation, dehydration, carb depletion, carb loading, drinking wine before your competition at night, drinking vodka in the morning before you step on stage, taking diuretics, and using performance-enhancing drugs throughout the contest prep. Okay, so first thing you have to understand about every single one of those practices is it's stemming from the 1960s and the 70s when bodybuilders were just trying to figure out how to do everything. They're taking crazy amounts of steroids in undosed amounts. They have no idea what they're doing. They're popping that stuff like candy. They're training, they're growing, whatever. A side effect of steroids, though, is water retention, okay? Your body will hold more water. It is a well-known side effect of using any performance-enhancing drug like that. And so these practices like the carb depletions, the carb loading, the diuretics, the water depletion, all these things came from the fact that these guys had a lot of water weight and they had zero knowledge of what to do. Doctors didn't know anything about steroids at this point in time, and there was no knowledge whatsoever of how to do it. So they thought of all these weird kind of bro science tactics to go ahead and try to mitigate some of that water retention. Ladies, in a bikini competition, most of you, I hope, are not using performance-enhancing drugs in the first place. And even if you are, it's never gonna be at the dose of these bodybuilders. So you should absolutely not be doing any of these crazy bro science tactics. Let's go over why. If you do this water manipulation, ladies, you're out there in peak week, you're trying to manipulate water, you've been consistent through the whole prep, probably drinking a gallon of water a day, and now you think you want to cut your water down, load it, do whatever, your body is not going to respond favorably. You're adding an unknown variable into the equation. You're messing with something that your body had got well used to. Going into peak week, you want to create the same environment you've been creating, but to a better form, not to a worse one. You don't want to add in new variables. Don't deplete your water. Don't raise your water. Keep your water exactly the same it's been for the entire prep, and sip lightly through comp day so that you don't have to pee your tan off and things like that. But the point of the matter is, the water should not be changing to a dramatic amount, period. Purposeful dehydration up to 24 hours before the show. This kind of piggybacks on what we just talked about with water manipulation, but to a further degree, because women will actually try to dehydrate themselves because they think it'll make them look leaner. Here's what happens when you do that. You are pulling water out of the muscles, so you're going to look smaller. Your body's gonna look flat, you're going to look bad, and this is not good for your health whatsoever to purposely dehydrate yourself. Absolutely do not do this. You have zero benefit. You're going to look like shit on stage, and you're going to potentially damage your health permanently from doing these types of practices. Carb depletion and carb reloading. So this is very, very common. Again, this stems from the bodybuilding days, you guys, the 1960s and 70s, where these bodybuilders were trying to go on stage looking as lean and as big as possible with muscles. This does not apply to you ladies in bikini competitions. I don't know why you would ever follow these practices. Here's the so-called bro science behind it. It was the idea that, okay, you drop the carbs, you're going to deplete the muscle glycogen. Carbs, if you didn't know, are stored in your muscles as what is called glycogen, and that's when they fill out. You ever have like a big cheat meal or a lot of carbs, and then you feel like you got a good pump, your muscles are all full? It's because you got more glycogen than them, okay? So the idea was that if you deplete the glycogen in the muscles early into peak week, then your body is going to be more receptive to absorb more carbs at the end of the week. So these bodybuilders would drop the carbs out early in the week, add a bunch in at the end of the week before they go on stage so that they could super fill out their muscles and look bigger for the show. This does not actually work. However, there's actually zero science to support those claims, even for bodybuilders, and this especially is something that bikini competitors absolutely have zero benefit from doing. If you drop your carbs in peak week and you load them, again, we have the unknown variable of what your body's gonna do. We've built consistency the entire prep, and now you want to mess with your carbs up and down. Guess what can happen? You can have extra water retention, you can look flat, you cannot load, you cannot deplete the right way, and then all of a sudden, all those hard working weeks to get that physique went to shit because you messed with your carbs in peak week. Don't do it! Drinking wine up until the comp every night before bed, and then drinking shots of vodka before you step on stage. Again, this bro science idea here that drinking alcohol dehydrates the body, so it's gonna help you look leaner, it's gonna help you look more vascular, it's gonna help you do this, that, and that. Doesn't work, ladies. It does not work. You know what's gonna happen? Yeah, you drink the wine, go to bed, great. You're gonna wake up thirsty. You go ahead and do shots of alcohol before you go on stage. You're gonna be thirsty and potentially drunk in heels on stage. It doesn't do anything, however, for your body. It does absolutely zero good. It's not good to dehydrate yourself. We've already talked about it's gonna give you no benefit, and it's gonna make your body, your muscles, all that look flatter. You're not gonna look good going up on stage, all tipsy, wobbling around in your heels, ladies. So don't be doing alcohol shots, and do not be drinking wine before bed in an effort to dehydrate yourself in peak week. 60% of your score in any competition is your posing. Remember that. Use of diuretics and other performance enhancing drugs like clenbuterol and T3, things like that, period, in a contest prep should never happen. But in peak week, for some reason, a lot of coaches are telling you to up those things. Let me tell you this, there's a reason diuretics are banned from all competitions, because they literally kill people. When you do those types of things, you can actually die. When you take these performance enhancing drugs, you can actually die. There's side effects. And let me tell you what, ladies, if you do this type of stuff, you are going to have damage from it. It does not matter at all if you do it smart, you do it safe, your coach says it, you're going to get messed up one way or another. Even if you don't die or land yourself in the hospital, it will get to you down the line. It is not a good practice. It's not something you want to do. And again, there's no research that shows benefit here. Obviously, using performance enhancing drugs and things like that are going to give you some result as far as getting leaner, more muscular, etc. But at the cost of what? Look up the side effects of the stuff these people tell you to take. You're in a bikini competition, ladies. You absolutely don't need this. You're not trying to compete with Phil Heath on the Olympia stage. You're trying to look good in a bikini on stage and pose your ass off, okay? So you gotta make sure that you don't sacrifice your quality of life by taking stupid stuff that you don't need in the first place. So there's just a few practices that are very, very common in peak week contest prep. A lot of coaches putting this out, a lot of athletes that know absolutely no better, and a lot of people are getting very sick and having a lot of problems. Ladies, did you know that after a traditional contest prep, it takes the average female competitor 6 months to 2 years to rebalance their hormones after a contest prep? That is crazy. That is insanity. And the reason is being that you've done so many unhealthy practices, you've done all these different things, these chronic cardio, chronic dieting, and then you're doing all this peak week crap you don't need, and now you have severely damaged your hormone profile to the point where it's gonna take years and years to come back. So you're stepping on stage, NPC, you pose for 10 seconds, that's what you get to pose in the NPC, okay? So you've prepped all this time, you've done all this work, you go on stage for 10 seconds, and now you got 2 years to get your life back in order, to get your relationships back in order, your family, your friends, all these other things, let alone your mindset. You can have severe depression, disorders, and things like that from doing this type of stuff, ladies. So really, really think about it. And remember that it's a bikini competition. It is not like a bodybuilding competition. You really gotta look at your coaches. You gotta see what they know. You gotta see what they experience. You gotta actually talk to some of their athletes. Talk to people they've worked with. See, were they sick? Did they have problems? There is so many women that I've heard different tragedy stories about them landing themselves in the hospital, being in the ER on comp day, their hair falling out during a prep, their hormones being being so off balance that they can't even function in everyday life, and all types of other problems that come about from doing this type of practice in a contest prep. Let me tell you exactly how you should do a peak week. A peak week should be the easiest week of your prep. You should roll right into it, and you should go right up to the show smiling and enjoying every second of the process. When the contest ends, you go back to everyday life, go back to training, you keep on your nutrition, you keep doing everything because you've built a lifestyle. It's not about going into competition, going into peak week, sacrificing your health to step on stage for 10 seconds and then having to rebound and catch up for 2 years after. It's about instead fitting balance into your life and having all the things in order, making sure you never do anything that jeopardize your health or anything like that. You do the contest and you carry on because you got a long life to live after that. Even if you're going to compete for the next 5-10 years, you still probably have 40, 50, 60 years after that to live, to kids to raise, family to be there for, things to do. So much in the world that absolutely needs to still happen, okay? You can't sacrifice your life at the cost of contest prep. So if you know a coach, if your coach is telling you to do this stuff, if you know people that are promoting this or telling you to do this, go ahead and slap them right in the damn face, because they are helping nobody, they're causing a lot of problems, and it's not healthy, and you sure as shit better not be doing this kind of stuff, ladies. Trust me, you can go into contest prep without any of that happening and win shows and achieve your results and still have health and still have the lifestyle that you want. Trust me, it is possible. I do this all the time with people. It works. And it is sustainable, and that's what you need. You don't need another crazy practice. You need something that's sustainable, something that's fun, something that's enjoyable, so you can have the experience, you can have the life, you can have them both for as long as you want them. And that's the goal, that's the way it should be. So don't be doing any of these practices, please. Understand the bro science, understand that it's all made up shit, and there's no science that supports it. There's a lot of really bad, negative evidence that's gonna come of that, doing those types of stuff, okay? There's been proven negative side effects to doing those practices, absolutely zero proven benefits. So don't do it, ladies. Have a good time, get in your contest prep, and go kick some serious ass in peak week. And if you have any questions about anything ever, you always know you can contact me anytime, all right? Shoot me a message, find me, email me, whatever it takes. I'll be there, I'll help you out. All right, talk to you again soon.